As we continue our journey into Mexican wines, Baja and beyond, I want to introduce you to my friend Gil Gutierrez. He's an importer and works with all of these wineries pretty directly, or most of these wineries directly. Gil, thanks for joining us today.
Ian, thank you very much. Thank you for having us. It's a pleasure being here with you. It's one of our favorite topics.
Yes, you are the expert. We really enjoyed our dinner with you a few months back, and so did everyone that came to the dinner, be able to hear it from you because you travel to this region often. You know what's happening on a day-to-day basis. That timeliness is really important. There's been a lot of continued improvements in the wine scene in Mexico. Probably the big headline is just how expanded the set of wines is now. We used to think that Mexican wines, maybe we would just get a little hung up on the idea of it being Baja centric, but it's really expanding all the way into the heart of Mexico in a bigger and bigger way. So let's talk about Mexican wine, and then let's focus on the great singular producers and the places are starting to become more famous because of the great producers. We're going to start our conversation today with an absolute legend. We're going to start off with a wine from Hugo de Acosta. Hugo was really the person who like perked my ears up and gained my respect because he did things the right way, had an incredible resume, and I got to go visit him at the very impressionable time, my first visit to Baja. He made an incredible impression on everybody that was in the room. The wines that he makes are always arguably the best wines on the table. Um, and he has like an authoritative presence, and his wines speak that same language. And so we're going to taste a wine from Casa de Piedra, Piedra del Sol Blanco, Ensenada, Gil.
Yes, it's an interesting story because when Hugo da Costa decided to start this winery, Casa de Piedra, with his wife and his brother and this brother's wife, they started using the elements from the area, and it was they used rocks, so that's why people use it as a point of reference as the House of the Rock. And since it was pretty new and nobody knew where Valle de Guadalupe was at, he said, I'm going to put Ensenada on the label of the bottle. That way people have a point of reference. Because if we put Valle de Guadalupe at that time, people didn't know where Valle de Guadalupe was at. So he used Ensenada as a point of reference to where the wine was being made. Even though it's made in Casa de Piedra, that's a little further east from Ensenada. It's in San Antonio de las Minas, which is like the beginning of Valle de Guadalupe.
Yeah, and he's all over the place too. I mean, he's like the regional expert, the regional authority. And my first question for him, Gil, was I asked him a question thinking that he would have a different answer, but I really loved his answer. And I said, okay, so what is going to be the grape of Mexico? You know, you got Shiraz in Australia, you've got Malbec in Argentina. And his answer to me was Mexico is a mosaic, and it's going to be a blended wine. The way the mosaic would lay it out. And I thought that was really a profound comment, and it really kind of caught my attention, my interest. And I've been saying that for over 20 years to lots of different people. So it was great to be able to get his perspective on that. And now, with that being said, we're tasting a wine today that's not a blend, and it's this is his white. We're going to taste two wines from his family, but this is a beautiful white. Tell us about the winery, Gil.
You know, the winery is not that big. It's as you come in, it's all made out of rock, and the tasting room is on the front side of the property. It does have a little bit of elevation on the back where it kind of climbs up a little bit, And all of the initially when they planted that vineyard was 100% Chardonnay, and that's what Piedra del Sol was. Unfortunately, as time went on, Hugo da Costa realized that the Chardonnay was not too healthy. It didn't really like the climate. It was a little bit too warm, and it required a little bit too much water. So they had to make a decision, and that decision was made to rip out the Chardonnay and pick out a white grape that likes that warm, dry climate. And that's when the Grenache Blanc was born. So we were very nervous and kind of concerned about the Chardonnay leaving and what was going to replace it. But you know, this Grenache Blanc, when we tried it, it's delicious,
Yeah.
and it's more geared towards that hot, dry climate.
Do you think he ripped out the vineyard or did he graft it over?
You know, he ripped it out. We showed up one day and we said, "What happened to the vines?" And there was just dirt. And you know,
Wow.
we're always the last ones to know about all this stuff, but we were shocked. We didn't know what to think. But
Impressive.
but you know, the Grenache Blanc is just as good as the Chardonnay.
Cool. Well, I think Grenache Blanc is a wine that a lot of people don't think of Grenache Blanc. You know, you go to a restaurant, you sit down at the table, and you think you want a white wine. You might think Sauvignon Blanc, Chardonnay. Does your brain ever kind of go, tonight let's go Grenache Blanc? I think it needs to get a little bit more attention. Um, and I think it's a really fascinating grape variety. It is planted in some really cool places, Priorat and the Rhone. There's some beautiful examples in Santa Rita Hills, things like that. So I'm not sure what this video link is for. My designer is saying I should clink into that. But there's a video here about Ugo da Costa, so I'm going to put it in the chat for you to be able to watch it later if you like. Those of you that are participating with us tonight. But Grenache Blanc, it is the white of Grenache. There is Grenache Noir, and it is from this grape variety that some very interesting wines are being made. I actually have a friend making a sparkling Grenache Blanc too. And so I think there'll be an increased number of references for this very delicious, refreshing, I won't say summertime, but it certainly shines with the season that we're coming into right now. It's kind of like the on point timing of the year to start talking about Grenache Blanc. Some cool pictures of the vineyard and the estate here, Gil. How many total cases do you think he makes now?
You know, he on the Grenache Blanc, not that many. I'm probably thinking about 250. And on his red, the Vino de Piedra, he does have a little higher production. That was like his flagship, the Captain Planillo. And I think on that he's up to 1,000 cases. That those two wines were the very first ones that kind of, you know, changed the landscape as far as focusing more on quality and lower quantity. So little by little, Vino de Piedra got very popular. And same thing with the Piedra del Sol, the white wine. They have the name recognition in Mexico. You see them in a lot of high-end hotels and a lot of the restaurants in Mexico City. So they're very popular in the Mexico side of the consumers out there. Well, you know, it's all stainless steel, so there's no oak. It's going to have some nice bright acidity. The idea with a lot of the white wines from Mexico, since it's so close to Ensenada, it's kind of geared to pair well with a lot of seafood. So it does have some bright acidity. It's got some nice expressive notes on the nose.
Mm. I could totally see having it with something like some fried calamari. Um, you could certainly go with some great shrimp, maybe a bowl of shrimp with some garlic butter sauce, like is that place Killer Shrimp still out there? I remember having that for a long time ago.
There's a couple of places that are just delicious. There is a food truck in Ensenada. It's a stand, Senora Sabina's, and that's amazing. This would pair very well.
Yeah, fish tacos,
The delicious.
ceviche. Yeah, for sure. But we're talking about some maybe some foods that you might have in Baja, but I think that translates so well with everything that's California cuisine too. And if you're on the vegetarian spectrum, this wine is so great with, any type of zucchini, grilled zucchini, um, any type of grilled vegetables. I think a wine like this is absolutely Californian in that regard. We need to continue to have that diversity and to reward the best winemakers in the world, and this is one of them.
Agreed.